a light to follow, a calling in the dark, a foreshadow of what is to come, a signal from the future. Not too long ago, I was watching some videos of an individual attempting to explain the fourth dimension. Now, I'm not able to communicate the message intended by the creator of that video, and I'm not able to articulate what I took from the video. However, there's a way that comes to mind when I think about what would it look like if something from the fourth dimension attempted to communicate to someone like myself who, insofar as I know, exists in the third dimension. And for clarity purposes, length, height, width. If I'm able to perceive any dimensions beyond that, then that is a level of intellect that exists within me that I am not consciously aware of. So one of the videos was giving the example of taking a sheet of paper and holding up an object above the paper and creating a scenario in which the object above the paper was attempting to communicate with the objects that exist having been drawn onto the paper. I would say if you could only look forward, left, or right, and you could never look up and the concept didn't exist to you, how would you know where that communication is coming from? And if that makes any sense, how would I know when a communication is coming from another dimension? For example, I like to think about Moses having been contacted by God from a burning bush. And again, as always, I want to make sure that everybody understands I'm not telling you what to think. I am not trying to interpret the Bible. I'm using it as a metaphor. In the world that I perceive and in the world that I interpret, there isn't a scenario in which a being could communicate to me through a burning bush. But as many people have said before in conversations that I've had, and I'm sure conversations that I've never been a part of, how would you explain a phone, a modern phone, to somebody who existed 1,000 years ago? As I've said before, language is metaphor. It's almost like Google. Every word you say is searching in the filing cabinets of the mind a concept or an experience for you to call forth into consciousness for the sake of communication. So you have to find sometimes the most synonymous term in your imagination to effectively communicate your point. And so, if you go far enough into history, you probably you can't tell somebody, oh, it's glass, it's a foam, it's metal, it's electric. And maybe even if electricity existed in their time, maybe it wasn't in their lexicon, it wasn't part of their tongue. So there's a struggle, there's a barrier to overcome. And so similarly, to communicate from the fourth dimension or a higher dimension, to hear a call from the dark, to receive a communication from an unorthodox place, to follow a light, to serve a God, to know the path forward. There's a language learned over time. In the beginning was the void. There was the word, and God said, let there be light. Let there be understanding. What do we follow? Where does our message come from?